Holly Kovo from Fitting Fitness In. I'm a personal trainer and nutrition specialist, and welcome to Get Healthy with Holly. Today we're in my backyard and we're going to go over some backyard fun with the family. It's very important to get outside and get off of the screens, get away from the TV, the phone, the iPad, the computer, and get outside. Not only do you get a little vitamin D and a little bit of sun, but you also have a lot of fun and you're active. So I have some friends here helping me out today to demonstrate some of the activities you can do in your backyard. So we're going to take it and show you some of the different games. This first game is called Bago. And the object is to get the bags in the hole, or at least on the board. Our friends here, our Girl Scout friends here, doing this, and it takes hand-eye coordination, it takes some balance, it takes some spatial recognition, and a little talent to achieve the goals. So it's always awesome to get everybody outside. This you could play with 2 people, this you could play with 4 people. It's a big game that the guys like to play instead of horseshoes. If you don't have horseshoes, this is a big one for outdoor parties. And then we're going to take it over to the can jam. So in this game, it's Frisbee. You have to try to get it into the can, either in that little slot or on top. And your partner, if you get it close, can jam it in, just like Steve did.
Good shot.
And then let's take it over into the shade a little bit, and we'll look at lawn darts, which is a really great game to play with the younger kids. So lawn darts used to actually have pointy heads on them, and they had to change that to make them dull so nobody gets stabbed with them. Here we go. Okay, Grandma, your turn, Alexis. Try again. So you can make it a little more challenging by pulling the rings further apart, maybe for the teenagers or for the adults, but it's a great length for the kids. So Frisbee golf, we learned about Frisbee golf when we were out in Wisconsin visiting my brother. He lives right next to a park that has an 18-hole Frisbee golf course. And so you have a special kind of net that has rings, and you have to throw it and get it into the net. Look at that, we have our Mikas enjoying some nice and shade. So they're playing, what's the name of this game, Steve?
This is Around the World.
Around the World. So everybody, you go from one different place. We have the little flags. Everybody throws from there, and when you get it, then you move on. If you don't get it, you keep trying from that spot until you move on. All right, I just want to introduce all of my helpers today. We have Chris and Fred Faulkner, their granddaughter Giselle, their granddaughter Claudia, their granddaughter Alexis, and then we have Supria and Shivank helping us out, as well as my husband, Steve Kovo. I want to thank you guys for helping today, and we're going to take it over to the grill for some grilled pizza. So here we are at the grill now with my husband, Steve Kovo, and we're going to make our famous grilled pizza. We have grilled pizza every Friday, and you can put all sorts of different things on top. We do it as a partnership. I prep everything inside, and then he does the cooking out here, and it works well for us. So I'm going to let Steve talk to you about how to do the dough. We bought the dough is the only thing that is not fresh. The dough we buy from the grocery store, and put it out like that, and then Steve takes it from there.
This dough, again, is just a stretch pizza dough. A couple of real critical things about making grilled pizza is the temperature of the grill. I keep mine on low, so it's about 300 degrees. And the other key thing is once it's stretched, we're going to put oil on the surface that we're going to drop onto the grill so that it doesn't stick on there. So that's what I'm going to start doing right now so we can get this going. And we have olive oil with basil and some thyme leaves in it. We'll try to put an even coat of this and brush it onto the bread, onto the dough. And so we're just going to put a layer of this on here. I'll do the other one too, because then I want them to cook about the same amount of time. And I'll swing over here. Now, obviously, we're doing 2 now, just the same type of thing, doing one of them. I suggest if you're going to try this the first time, just do 1. But the worst thing you can do is really burn the crust. So when you are doing this, you want to make sure that if you once you heat the grill up, you look at the temperature and don't put the dough on if the grill temp is anything over 350 degrees. So now I'm gonna flip this over. I might have to stretch it if it doesn't come off perfectly smooth. Let's get this stretched out a little bit, and then I'll do the other one. And voila, we are on. And so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna let the dough start to rise on the grill. I'm gonna close it up and we'll start seeing it bubble up. As we're cooking here, we want to check this dough now. Oh, it is starting to rise up. I'm going to give it a little bit of a shift here too and take a peek underneath. You can start to see it. Yeah, it's still really not quite set up, but you can see it's starting to bubble, so it is working. Sometimes I try to move it a little bit and then catch it on both sides. Just give it a little bit of a tilt so the same spots aren't on the grates. And then I'm going to close it. Getting close.
I usually take care of the toppings. Everything is fresh, by the way. That's fresh herbs in there, the thyme and the basil. This is fresh mozzarella. These are green peppers and that I blanch for about 2 to 3 minutes in boiling water. I just stick it in, mix it up, and take it out so that they're not really hard, but they're still a little crisp. The tomatoes you really want to slice thin because otherwise it makes the pizza a little watery. So you don't have to put all those tomatoes on if you don't want to. I cut them, but that's up to you. So we like to also add some Parmesan cheese and some feta. It makes it a whole meal, and we throw in some grilled chicken as well, and it really becomes a meal.
And we are ready for now the next step in this whole process. We're going to oil up the other side of the dough. You can see how nicely it's risen up for us, and it's ready to flip. It's a nice thing Holly brought the toppings, because as soon as you flip these doughs, you want to get your toppings on so that your cheese will start to melt and so that you don't burn the other side of the crust. So I try to put the oil on a bit sparingly on this side so I don't get a flare up on the grill. So I might be brushing a bit here just to try to spread some dough out again. Oil out. It's just so that this dough won't stick to the bottom of the grill as we're cooking it. And again, the temperature is really key. You want to keep the temp at probably on this Weber. It's at the lowest setting on the burners. It's trying to maintain between 300 and 350 degrees. Also, 2 spatulas are really important because you got to get underneath it. You don't want to burn your hands, and you want to be able to flip these. So I tend to want to grab it from both sides and just give it a nice flip. Same thing from the other way. I guess it kind of looks like one of those dough things you'd buy at the fair or something, but you could even use these for kind of a bruschetta or something like that too, or even an appetizer. Just this with the olive oil is really nice. Now, as soon as I put them on here again, I'm going to want to put these toppings on. So I'm going to start spreading these out on here.
It's nice to have the 3 different cheeses because it kind of brings in a whole different, it's all your sensories, all your taste buds. So the fresh mozzarella also makes it a little watery, so you want to go light on that as well. This looks yummy.
And then you're gonna just sprinkle these the chicken on top.
Adds a little more protein to the meal.
And then we're gonna sprinkle some Parm on. This is shredded fresh Parmesan is really nice because it gives that nice tanginess to it. I'm going to use all of this up in this bowl. And then feta also is really nice. I mean, that again, the fresh mozzarella is nice, but these all give a little bit more of a little sharper flavor to it too. And with all the fresh ingredients, it works really well together. We've been using this combination of cheeses for years and making grilled pizza, and it's been fantastic. So now I'm just going to basically put the cover down, and we'll let this warm up for a little while. All right, well, let's see what's going on here. We're just starting to get the cheese to melt and not make sure the bottom doesn't burn. I've still got the heat way down, so everything's still looking good here. The dough that we typically buy just pizza dough from the grocery store. Our local one is Shaw's. When you do stretch the dough, you definitely don't want to use a rolling pin. I'm not as good as those guys in the pizza shops, and I don't fling the thing around. I just kind of stretch it. I put my hand underneath it and I try to smooth it. You know, I use flour on the counter, and I just stretch it out. I don't try to stretch it particularly thin because you don't want to burn holes through the bottom of the crust, because then your cheese can drain through. This is looking good. We're almost there. All right, so I think we're ready to check this out and pretty much take these babies off. Yeah, you can see the mozzarella's melted now. Basically, you know, this is about how much you really want to cook this, so you don't burn the bottom. And so I'm just going to lift these guys off. Now, one of the things that's very nice with this particular grill is it's got a fairly flat grill. The surface of the grates themselves are flat. There's a triangular shape to these, and I always work them on the flat side, so my dough won't get stuck. When I put it down, it doesn't drip through the grates. And you know, you definitely, if you're making grilled pizza at home, that's something to think about. You know, you want to, if you have any opportunity to put something flat on there, if you have round grates, you could potentially have your dough stick in there. It might be a little bit tougher to work, but here's the finished product. And we're just gonna bring it in and slice it up.
So I want to thank you, Steve, for showing us how to do this grilled pizza. The recipe will be on my website, fittingfitnessin.com. I also want to thank Chris and her family for coming and helping us out with the backyard fun. Don't forget, take some time out with the family, go outside in your backyard, have fun, get some sun, get some exercise, and enjoy the summer. So thanks again for joining me on Get Healthy with Holly, and I'll see you next time on Get Healthy with Holly.